Hello, everybody. It's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're going to be taking a first look at a game which is currently in development. This is I think, an alpha version of the game, was what I saw in the email from the PR group. It is a game called Radio Commander, which puts you in the shoes of I think it's roughly equivalent to a company commander, maybe a battalion commander, but essentially the concept is you're the commander of a group of American soldiers that are fighting in Vietnam that are going through a series of missions that sort of plays into a bit of a narrative story. Except at your rank and in your position, you're back on the fire base. You're not actually in the field with your soldiers. You're communicating with them via radio, and hence the name Radio Commander. And the radio communications that you get from them are all you really have to go on to understand what's going on. And that means you may need to call in an artillery strike, and hopefully you properly plotted where your troops are, or you know where your troops are on the map, and you're listening to them as far as where to hit the enemy with artillery. Maybe you have to call in an airstrike. Maybe you have to send in reinforcements, bring another squad down to try and bring additional support to the troops. It's a really unique game. I've never seen anything like this before. I think the scourge of wargames get at a little bit with their headquarter in the saddle mode, where your camera is basically strapped to the horse as if you were a general riding around, and you can only see what you could see from the saddle of a horse. Except obviously in the case of modern warfare, no one's riding around in the jungles of Vietnam on a horse. You're back at the fire base, you're where the artillery is, you're where the helicopters are, and you're communicating with your troops via radio, which should theoretically allow you to know a lot more than someone back in the olden days riding around on a horse. But in the flip side, you only know what you hear, and sometimes I'm assuming that information may not always be totally accurate. So this game is still in development. It's not out yet, but the developers were kind enough to give me a copy of what they have so far, and I wanted to go ahead and show you guys a little sneak peek of what we can expect here. So there's going to be a campaign to the game. That doesn't appear to be turned on yet, but there is a couple of single-player missions that we can play through. So there's two, number 1 and number 2 single-player missions, which I think are part of like the storyline. Number 1 I've played through, and it certainly feels a little bit like the tutorial. I think 1 and 2 are both tutorial related. And then there's Operation GIC, which I think is just sort of like a survival game, where your goal is to kind of see how many waves of enemy troops you can hold out against. Yeah. But with that being said, let's take a look at the Hearts and Minds scenario. You can see in both scenario 1 and 2, it's 1965. In both scenarios, you're based near Ben Hua. In scenario 1, Hearts and Minds, you have 2 platoons, Alpha Platoon and Bravo Platoon of the 503rd 173rd Airborne Brigade, are being sent forward to patrol the countryside. Your primary objective is to win the hearts and minds of South Vietnamese people, talk to the locals, show them the U.S. and South Vietnamese government are looking out for them, and are eager to defend them from the Viet Cong. Secondary objectives: investigate any Viet Cong activity that you hear of. So just sort of a basic search and destroy mission in some sense. Your troops are being sent out to go to a local village, to meet up with the locals, and to see if you can, essentially provide counterinsurgency operations and support in the effort of pacifying the countryside and winning over the Vietnamese people. It's 1965, so this is very early on in the American ground involvement. Advisors had already been there for a while, but June of 65, 65 is the first year, I believe, where the Americans really went in and fully committed to sending combat forces to Vietnam. It's the year that the Battle of the Ai Drang Valley, which you see in We Were Soldiers, was fought, and it is the year that Johnson really ramped up American commitments, more than just sending troops to air bases to provide local security. This is the year that they started sending full-blown combat divisions in and started taking the war over from the Vietnamese. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in and let's play it.
Sky soldiers, welcome to Vietnam. Serving in the 173rd Airborne Brigade means living under a heavy burden. But here's your chance to take on the legacy of freedom-fighting heroes from your unit's past. After the Gulf of Tonkin incident, it has become clear that it is here, in Southeast Asia, where the front line in the war on communism has been drawn. As President Johnson once said, We do not choose to be the guardians at the gate, but there is no one else. The communist offensive in South Vietnam must be stopped, or after the fall of Vietnam, other countries will fall, just like pieces of domino. America remembers the lesson from Munich and will never step down to the dictatorship. You will be fighting with a sinister enemy, leading its so-called war of liberation. But be sure that Viet Cong has nothing to do with liberty. It is all about enslaving the freedom-loving people of South Vietnam and subordinating them to North Vietnamese communists and their masters from Red China. We are superior in weaponry and training. Our cause is just. This will be a very short war. You will be celebrating Christmas back on Okinawa, I guarantee.
Okay, I'm just going to say that that was freaking awesome. I really love when games kind of set themselves in the moment and they do those kind of little intros or whatever. All right, so as you can see here, we're in our own little command base. It is 11:15 a.m. On June 14th of 1965. It's a Monday. You've got the time up here. You can see this is apparently... Let's restart this because I did play through this once before. So welcome, Commander. In order to start the mission, please turn on the radio. So you can click on this either by clicking on it or hitting R. Now you can form and send radio messages using the select panel. So I can go ahead and hold the select button down. I can press the number 1 key, and then my guy will start talking to my soldiers.
We have a beautiful day ahead of us with air humidity at the level of 95% and 102 Fahrenheit degrees. Our today's task is simple. We are winning the hearts and minds of South Vietnamese citizens. Alpha Squad is visiting nearby village, making friends and chatting about Viet Cong activity. Bravo Squad lays on the hill, awaiting further orders. Over.
All right, so nice... Oh.
This is Alpha 12, man. Reporting for duty. Out.
Okay, so Alpha has 12 men. They're on the map. They're visiting a nearby village. And, yeah, you can see up here on the top left, we've got a little bit of a briefing. Alpha Bravo platoons sent on a patrolling mission in the countryside. This is kind of what we read on the previous screen. So we want to village the nearby village of Bin Son. If we look around the screen here, we can see we are in a tent on a firebase. It's pretty cool. We've got a couple of maps up here that kind of add a little bit of ambiance, some period-specific gear like the radios and some manuals, a nice little cigarette here on the table. So if I do end up needing a cigarette there, Pixel, I've got one right here, and apparently reading glasses as well. That is a big cigarette carton, that's what I will say. Some crates of ammunition, and I just kind of can pan around by holding the... actually not even doing anything, just moving the mouse around. You can see if we click up here, this gives us back that screen that gives us our objectives. This is kind of our next objective, the village of Bin Son. And then this is really the core of the game is right here on this map. So we're just going to click on this map and we're going to kind of zoom in here. This is the operations map. This is where we issue all of our orders and where the game really plays out. So this is a unique game where you're going to be communicating with your soldiers via audio commands. Not that you're saying them as far as I'm aware. It's just sort of like you select voice options, but you're communicating via audio. You're using your radio to keep in touch with your troops, to keep where they are located on this position on the map, and to provide them the necessary support that their CO back at headquarters would actually provide. So you can see here we can scroll in quite far down here on the map with the mouse wheel. And when you hover your mouse over any one spot on the map, it gives you the coordinates. So I'd be curious if you could turn that off or not, because it is kind of cool. I remember when I first played through this scenario last night, just to kind of familiarize myself. If you look on the map, you could figure it out. That's what I was doing. I didn't realize that it had the little numbers there in front of me. But you could say, like, if your coordinates are 940 by 200, you just look at the 940 here, and then you kind of cross-reference and read the map that way. But the game lets you cheat a little bit. With that being said, this is the village we need to go ahead and patrol. You can see village is written on the map and circled, and this map is interactive. So as different things occur, as the events through the scenario unfold, different cues may be given on the map as far as where your objectives are or what is occurring. So you can see here, we've got the tutorial on the bottom right. I'm going to skip that and see how I can navigate through the tutorial on my own, and we'll see how that goes. So first off, we're going to hold down the square button. We're going to go ahead and press the number 1 key, as you can see by the number 1 down here. And we're going to go ahead and get Alpha Platoon to give us a report on their position.
Alpha, this is Papa Bear. What's your position? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Reporting position 9er 5, 9er 5, 2, 3, 4. Moving to 9er 3, 8, 5, 2, 1, 3.
So they're at 959-234, which is right here, this little spot up on the top of the map where my mouse cursor is highlighted. You will also notice the game doesn't require you to just read those coordinates and see where they're going as well down here. It does give you a little bit of a pointer, a little bit of a cheat there if you want. If you go ahead and we'll do that one more time, you'll see a little circle sort of pulse here and also pulse where they're going. So the first circle that pulses on the top right is where they are. The second circle is where they're headed to. So you kind of got two identifiers of where they're at. I wonder, again, that'd be interesting if that's the kind of setting you could turn off in like a hardcore mode, but it at least gives you a little bit of a cheat there. Now, with that being said, these soldiers are moving to the village. I don't really have much else for them to do. We can check in and see, if we tell them what are their contacts, we can see are there any bad guys in the area. But, there are no reports right now of Victor Charlie or of the VC.
Alpha, we report no movement inside. Out.
Okay. And then the other option is fight result, but we're not in a fight.
Alpha, this is Papa Bear.
We
Copy.
can give them orders to move to a different coordinate on the map, to engage, retreat, or fire, but we're not going to do any of that right now. So we're just going to actually go ahead and fast forward a little bit. So you can see we're on the play setting here. That's why it's red. We're going to go ahead and fast forward up here, and you'll see it starts jumping multiple minutes. So it starts off in real time, but when you do hit the fast forward button, things do accelerate a bit.
We're in the village, sir. Talking to the locals, giving them leaflets. There are a few.
Giving them
soldiers
leaflets.
here. They look awfully bored, over.
Okay, so you can see wait until your men speak with the villagers. Our new order is to wait and see what the men say to the villagers. So if we go ahead and we, never mind. So I can't actually check where they are right now because we've got a queue here, a dialogue queue. So we'll just go ahead and see what this exposition says.
Village and befriend with the locals. But nights are too dangerous to stay outside the base. So every single evening, our brave Arvin boys are heading back home. And Victor Charlie are coming out of the forest to have a quick chat with elders about the politics and revolution. And when our Arvin boys are back in a few days, the whole village is anti-government again. And it's like this for 10 years. Talk to those elders, Lieutenant. Out.
Ooh, giving the lieutenant the what's what. Okay, so if we go ahead and report, we'll see the position will have updated into the village now.
What's your position? Over.
Papa Bear, this is
So
Alpha.
the circle and the moving to are both in the same spot.
1, 4.
So we know they're in the village in here. You can see if we zoom in, it's got, a bridge here. It's got a nice little topographical map with the different height elevations and what have you. We're going to fast forward a little bit more, and we'll see what... Oh,
This is Alpha. Destination reached. We're at 9er 3, 8, 5, 2, 1, 4. Out.
Alpha, this is Papa Bear. What's your position?
and can you
Over.
still hear me over them?
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Reporting position 9er 3, 8, 5, 2, 1, 4. Out.
Looks like the audio should be better, but let me know, guys. Okay, awesome. Game is not yet available on sale. Pixel, it's still in development. I think you can wish list it, though. Am I right about that? I thought I saw something about being able to wish list it, but I could be wrong. Okay, so our soldiers are in the village here. Yeah, so I think we're just going to kind of fast forward. I don't have anything else for them to do right now. I don't want to order any, I don't want to give them any other orders. I don't have anything for them to do. So we'll let them talk to the village elders, which I'm assuming they'll do. Yep. Okay, they have something. One of the Papasans claims there's Viet Cong camp nearby. Okay.
Alpha,
Check it
this
out.
is Papa Bear. Check it. Over.
Roger. Out.
Oh, there we go. We got the VC camp down here. A little circle where the intelligence indicates the camp is. So the new orders for the squad, or the platoon, however you want to call it. 12 men is always a squad to me, but search for any VC activity in a given location. So the location is down here, and so at this point, our orders to Alpha Platoon are going to be to move down to the VC camp. Now, first off, let's see where their position is
Alpha,
currently.
This is Papa Bear. What's your position? Over.
Papa Bear.
So they're right here. Now, one thing we can do is there are chit options that you have up here. So you click on this little star icon in the top left, you get a pop-out from map tools. You can identify when there's enemy units on the map. You can identify friendly units. You can identify unknowns and neutrals. These, in our case, are our friendly troops. They're roughly right there on the map, so we'll go ahead and put them there. That is Alpha Platoon, right here you can see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to order my troops south to this VC camp. So I'm going to go ahead and order them to go to roughly this area over here, which is, I'm not a good topographical map reader, but I believe that this is a hill based on the way this looks. The increasing lines, indicate like this is the lower part of the hill, and it gets higher and higher and higher for each line level. And then this is kind of the plateau where it's the last circle up there. Same for over here. Don't ask me to teach a map class. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually first going to draw on the map. So I click on that map icon, and I'm going to go ahead and draw down here to where I want them to go. So I'm going to draw them down here, and then that's where I'm going to order them to go. Now, that doesn't actually issue the order for them. What I have to do to issue the order... oh, wait. Bravo Platoon is now available, potentially.
Alpha Platoon, this is Papa Bear. How's the situation down there? You need support? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Looks like we will be okay by ourselves. I expect little resistance, if at all, but it's always nice to have a backup. Your call, sir. Over.
So the question I would have is, if they want backup, if they don't need backup, but they're okay with backup, is there any particular reason, like, I wouldn't give them backup? It looks like it gives me a choice. So I can either tell them to go in, Alpha secure the LZ for Green 1, or I can tell them to wait patiently and have Alpha proceed on their own. I'm going to have them come in, so I guess let's... I don't know. How do I undo the draw? No! Is there a erase? I don't know if there's an erase option. I know I can erase the platoon there. I guess that's one thing I would recommend. I know the developers are still working on this game, but one thing I would recommend is giving the option to erase your drawings, although I guess you certainly can't erase drawings on a map once you actually draw on it, so maybe it makes sense. Anyway, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and keep our icon here for Alpha Platoon, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to order Bravo to come in.
Bravo Platoon, this is Papa Bear. You are going in. Alpha, secure the LZ for Green 1. Over.
Okay, so we're ordering Alpha Platoon now to secure the LZ.
Some of my boys are really excited. Out.
Now, one of the things they showed in the trailer was like helicopters taking off and like artillery firing from the base. That sometimes you can see things going on from over here. I don't see any of that right now, but I think that'd be cool if that gets added before the game development's done, because it was definitely in the trailer. All right, so we're moving back out. So we now have new orders for Alpha Platoon. Their orders are to secure this LZ over here. So we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to go with the draw option. We're going to have these guys move directly toward the LZ. I don't know the terrain well enough to know if they should really be moving in a straight line, but that's what we're going to order them to do. So we'll order Alpha Platoon to... Oh, those aren't orders. Ah!
Alpha,
I don't want you to do that.
What's your status?
Move.
Over.
So what we can do over here is when we go into the order section, we can either order them to engage, retreat, fire mode, which is either fire at will or hold fire, or move. Moving, I can just click on any one spot on the map and you'll see the coordinates get updated to where they're going to move to. Or if there are sort of predefined areas, like the village is a known area on the map, I can select that. In this case, I can either choose to have them move to the LZ or the village. In this case, we're going to go ahead and have them move to the village. We could have them move at the double time, so fast, or we can have them move at normal speed. So we're going to go ahead and move at normal speed. I think another interesting thing would be is if you could move them slowly as well, where like normal, double time, or slow, and maybe slow would give them the better chance of not getting ambushed. I wonder if normal works that way or not. But in any event, we're giving them orders to move to the LZ at normal speed.
Alpha, this is Papa Bear. Move to the LZ. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Moving to the LZ. Out.
Well, the village is right over here. This is where I am. So we're going to follow this line across the map. I'm just kind of doing a Mad Dad rush across open ground. You can see all of this is green over here, which indicates foliage. This is not green, so presumably this is like through maybe open fields or over a hill. You can definitely see the terrain indicates it's a hill. Now, if there is anyone between the LZ and us, we're going to be going up the hill. So unless they're waiting for us on top of the hill, we'll be covered by the hill, so they won't be able to see us because we'll be behind the slope. I'm just going to gamble that there's no one between us and the LZ. Our orders are to secure the LZ, and we're going to make a straight shot for the LZ. And now at this point, I've issued these orders, and so what we can do is we can go back to Alpha Platoon, we can report, and we can see their position, and we'll get that little pulsing dot here again where they are over here, and then where they're going over here. So you can see that. All right, so it is 12:05, and we're just going to fast forward here while these guys start moving. So you can see we're moving 5 minutes per second, a little bit more actually than that.
Papa Bear, this is Lieutenant Kovacs from Alpha Platoon. Me and the boys are talking about this whole hearts and minds situation, giving leaflets to the Vietnamese, talking to the locals. Instead of, sir, shooting the Charlie, Private Donaldson here thinks we're wasting our time.
Yeah, so apparently Private Donald wants to go shoot up the village because, all the Vietnamese are bad guys. Regarding scale, there is a scale down here, so you can see it does, if I wasn't on a computer screen and I had like a, something where I could measure things out, you can see the distance scale down here. 3 statute miles is this long line here. You've got meters, you've got yards. Again, the developer or the PR guy from the game is in the chat. He was saying that these are all based off of real maps of Vietnam. Actually, I remember my dad, he was a veteran in Vietnam, and he had some maps that he kind of, for whatever reason, he did some presentations for like some veteran stuff where he would sort of talk about his experiences in the war, and he had this briefcase. He brought around some smoke, a small thing of smoke. Actually found when he passed away and we sold the house, we found tear gas and freaked the hell out of the police officers when we brought it in to like give it a. My mom brought it into the station to give it away. They're like, we can't have this. It could ruin all the evidence if it goes off. But anyway, and he had some maps that looked very much like this. So it does feel authentic based off my own limited knowledge anyway. Anyway, so Lieutenant Kovacs is asking, why aren't we shooting up these bad guys? It would probably be better if CC had sent us to fight already. We can't win for Arvin and locals. It's their country and their business. So I'm curious how selecting different options influences your men. Like, if we're more belligerent, are they more likely to commit war crimes? Are war crimes a thing in this game? I don't know. But it's kind of an interesting, at least a dialogue option to see where things go. I'm going to be the pacifist, or not pacifist, but at least the logical person here and say, in counterinsurgency, we can't win the war for them. It's not about just racking up body count. It's about sort of winning the country.
Uncle Sam's been trying to win this war for almost a decade now, with more and more grunts, money, and firepower. Jack Kennedy, may he rest in peace, was right. We can't win for Arvin and locals. It's their country and their business. We can only help.
I hear you, sir. Wise words, if I may say. But Private Donaldson here says we should be shooting at something right now, and end this war as fast as possible. You should be easy for him, sir. He's from Mississippi, probably missing that sweet little sister of his. Sir, you know how close them southern families get.
Is that an incest joke?
Ain't you from Texas, Kovac?
I'm guessing not. I'm guessing it's just legitimate, like, Southern families are close.
We're a whole nother thing there, sir. While Mississippi was still riding on alligators, we were defending the Alamo.
I do like this little dialogue that we kind of have in the game between, you know, our men and us. It does feel like the kind of thing that would probably be more well-suited if it was an actual, like, role-playing first-person type thing. I don't know how much of this kind of chatter would actually go over the airs. It feels a little bit not so OPSEC type of thing to be chatting this much over the airwaves, but I could be wrong.
Tell Donaldson there'll be plenty of shooting coming. I guarantee you. Out.
Lane, was the U.S. winning in terms of manpower? I mean, the problem was manpower wasn't a thing. Like the North Vietnamese in the South and the militia in the South, the VC, yeah, they might have been losing in terms of body count, but the whole point was that the U.S. was fighting to kill as many of the bad guys as possible to break their will, whereas the bad guys, the Vietnamese, whereas the South, or the ARVN, or not the ARVN, good God, the VC or the North Vietnamese troops really didn't care about losses, and their objectives were more political than they were military. So they would win over the locals in an area, and they wouldn't care if they lost a lot of men, and the locals wouldn't care if they lost a lot of men, because the Americans were the outsider, they were the foreigner, and they were willing to take casualties that, frankly, the Americans never would be willing to take. And that's why, you know, for 10 years, America's direct military involvement, or I guess really to 72, so for 7 years, America's direct military involvement, Americans won almost every single battle, but it didn't matter. It didn't have any real impact. Those battles were fleeting. You'd take a hill and then you'd lose it the next day when you moved on to something else. Barring, like, putting, you know, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million men in the field, there was no feasible way for the Americans to win. And even then, that kind of a surge would have only been a temporary success. It's also worth pointing out that the logistical support that came down from North Vietnam was just something the Americans had no easy way to intercept. They were sending supplies down on bicycles through Cambodia and Laos, and the Americans were trying to stop, you know, $20 bicycles with $500, $2,000, you know, dumb bombs, and it was a losing proposition. There's an interesting book called like Forsaken Victories or something like that kind of talks about some of America's successes late in the war. It kind of makes a different argument about the war. It kind of looks more of like when Creighton Abrams took over. Is it Forsaken Victories? I forget the name of the book.
Because that safe, warm place you've left is not an option anymore. So fuck your life and have a nice day.
Nice little intro there by the helicopter pilot there flying into the LZ.
Alpha.
Are our troops even to the LZ yet?
What's your position? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Reporting position 9er 3 5 5 2 7 8. Moving to 9er 3 4 5 2 8 2. Out.
Okay, so they're... Wait, is this where they're moving to? Oh no, they're almost there. They're in the LZ zone. Okay.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. We're on the ground, ready to help those pretty white boys. Out.
Ready to help. Is this all... is this squad entirely of African Americans, or just the lieutenant that's leading them? All right, so we've got Bravo platoon on the ground now. Let's take a look and see where they're at.
Bravo. This is Papa Bear. What's your position? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. Our position is 9er 3 5 5 2 8 5. Out.
All right, so they're right here. Where's Alpha?
Alpha. This is Papa Bear. What's your position? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Reporting position 9er 3 5 5 2 8 0. Moving to 9er 3 4 5 2 8 2. Out.
So we've got two squads on the map, roughly right here. These are rough approximations. So this is Alpha platoon, this is Bravo platoon. So we've got two squads in the field, Bravo platoon and Alpha platoon. We're going to go ahead and issue them orders to move south on the VC camp. So we'll draw them south here. We'll issue them orders to move in essentially side by side so they can support each other. Ooh. And they'll move down on this camp. The only thing is with these icons, it'd be nice if they were a little bit transparent so I could actually see where the camp is. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to issue orders first. I guess we're going to move Alpha Platoon first.
Alpha.
Oh,
this
shit.
Is Papa Bear. Move to the LZ. Over.
All right, so we're going to tell them to move here. Oh, I can't click on it?
This is Alpha. Moving to the LZ.
I'm confused. All right, so is that where I'm telling them to move? Okay.
Bear. This is Alpha. Being 4, 5, 2, 8, 1, out.
Alpha. This is Papa Bear. Move to Niner 1 0 by 2 7 8. Over. Bravo. This is Papa Bear. Do you copy? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. Reporting. Copyright. Out.
All right,
Bravo.
so we'll
This is
issue orders
Papa
for
Bear.
Bravo to move.
Move to Niner 2 7 by 2 4 5. Over.
Papa Bear. This is Alpha. Moving to Niner 1 0 by 2 7 8, out.
Oh, so they're moving to the same coordinate roughly anyway.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. Moving to 9 2 7 by 2 4 5, out.
You want an option just to tell the guy to shut the hell up? Shut up and listen to my orders. Get moving. All right. So we've issued orders for both those squads to start moving. I think we're just going to go ahead and speed things up a little bit.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Think we've seen some movement in front of us. Over.
They've got movement. All right. Proceed with caution.
Cover them, Bravo. Over.
So you can see both units are moving in together, so they're able to cover and support each other.
Alpha.
What do you see?
This is Papa Bear. You see Victor Charlie? Report all contacts. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. We report no movement inside.
I thought you just saw something. Where are you?
Alpha. This is Papa Bear. What's your position? Over.
Papa Bear, this is
All right,
Alpha.
so they're
Reporting
still
position 9 or
a
2,
ways
7
away
by
from the
2,
map.
8, 1,
They're going to cross a
moving to
clearing
9
right around
1,
down
0
here.
by 2 7 8, out.
Let's actually do this. I'm going to order them to move to about here.
Alpha. This is Papa Bear.
I'm going to have them stop in front of that clearing. Just in the event that there's bad guys on the opposite side, maybe there's a chance if they stop there that they won't run into an ambush.
There's no danger. Out.
Bravo. This is Papa
All right, so it was a wild animal apparently, no danger. So we're going to stop both platoons shy of the clearing so that we don't move them across open ground where they might get ambushed.
Because of a fucking Bambi? General Westmoreland would be so proud.
Bravo platoon's leader's a bit of a sarcastic ass, I think.
Moving to 9 2 2 by 2 8 3, out.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Moving to 9 or 2 2 by 2 8 1, out.
Okay. So we'll fast forward again until they see another deer.
This is Alpha. We're getting tired. Out.
That's
Papa
fine.
Bear, this is Alpha. Destination reached. We're at 9 or 2 3 by 2 8 1, out.
All right, what about Bravo?
Papa Bear, this is Bravo.
Bravo, you guys are slow.
We're at 9 2 3 by 2 8 2, out.
So fatigue appears to be a thing because Alpha said they were tired. Let's see if they're still tired or if they've waited a little bit to
What's your
get their...
status? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. We are awaiting orders, reporting no KIA. 0 wounded. Our morale is excellent. We're fresh as a daisy. Ammo full. Out.
Well, they got not tired pretty fast, but the game did tell us they were tired, so that's kind of a cool little thing where fatigue is modeled in. Let's give them till 45, then we'll have them move forward. Alright, so we've given them a little bit of time to rest and get back on track. We're going to go ahead and issue orders again. They'll move through this clearing to the other side. Actually. Well, it just... does it... Interesting, it leaves a little dot when I issue an order for them to go somewhere. So it does leave a little dot each time we click on the map for them to go. And that might be because we've got the drawing settings still on. You can see the little squiggly below the cursor.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha.
So go ahead and turn that
Moving
off.
to Niner 175 281 out.
Yep.
Bravo.
When we turn the
This is
drawing
Papa
setting
Bear.
off, that little dot
Move
stop.
to
That dot could be
9,
useful,
1,
actually, to
8,
keep track of where your orders
5,
are for them to go.
3, over.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. Moving to 9185283 out.
Project, I think it is worth remembering that this game is... I was told this game is still in alpha status, and this is the first 2 missions that I have access to are only the tutorial missions, essentially. So these are very much intro missions. I would imagine the game and the immersion would at least attempt to get more engaging, I guess, as time goes on.
281 out.
Alpha, this is Papa Bear. Move to 910 by
And just so you guys know, Pat Garrett is the PR guy for Radio Commander.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Moving to Niner 105 279 out.
All right.
Bravo, this is Papa Bear. Move
Okay,
to
so we moved through the
9, 2,
clearing, and there was no
7,
sign of the enemy. We're going to be moving up this
5,
hill now as well.
over.
We'll see if there's any sign of the enemy then, too.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. Moving to 9275224.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. We are at the waypoint. Nobody's here now, but definitely someone was here recently. There are signs of camping and some papers. I think it's a poem. Kendrick says it's something like, turn your grief into anger.
Okay.
Vietcong propaganda. Charlie was here, for sure.
I bet the villagers warned Charlie.
Warn the enemy. Someone will have to talk with them one more time, only without your diplomatic.
Oh, we're
guns.
going to burn the place to the ground.
Burn the
That's not
place to
very
the ground
nice.
and head for the
I didn't
LZ.
say to burn the place to the
There's no
ground.
point
I
in
just said it
coming
was the
for us
villagers.
now. Out.
So can I actually order them to move to the village and burn it to the ground? Like, how does that work?
Alpha, this is Papa Bear. Move to the village. Over.
The village.
Bravo, this is Papa Bear. Move to the village. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. Moving to the village. Out.
He said that with such
Papa Bear,
excitement.
This is Alpha. Moving to the village. Out.
Look out, village. That's, you know... So, like, is burning down villages a thing in this game? Is that, like... I know I should be using these chits, but honestly, I kind of...
Bear, this is Alpha. We're getting tired. Out.
Suck it up.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo.
Suck it up.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo.
So can I tell him to do anything?
1-0 out.
Alpha, this is Papa Bear. Fire at will. Give them all you've got. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Roger that. Will fire at will. Out.
Okay, don't worry, guys. I didn't just institute a war crime. Nothing happened. So I told them to move back to the village. But my orders were returned to the LZ. So does it just mean they weren't gonna... They were gonna burn the village down next time? Because I don't really have an option.
Alpha, this is Papa
I don't think.
Bear. Engage. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. No targets in sight. Out.
Oh, the VC camp? Burn the VC camp? I'm sorry. I thought they were supposed to burn the village. I thought that's what my guy said. Alright. So we'll move to the LZ.
Alpha, this is Papa Bear. Move to the LZ. Over. Bravo, this is Papa Bear. Move to the LZ. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Moving to the LZ. Out.
Papa Bear, this is...
All right, you guys got your rest at the village.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. We are under attack.
Oh my God!
2, 6, 5, 2, 6, 2, out.
Well, shit.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Shooting at enemy at 9 or 2, 6, 5, 2, 6, 2, out.
9. That's 2, 6. 6, 2. All right, so bad guys. Bad guys. I don't have any, like, fire support I can bring down on them, though. So, Alpha is under attack. Where's Bravo?
Bravo, this is Papa Bear. What's your position? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo.
Well,
Our
shit.
position is 9, 3.
Move at the double. Go support Alpha.
Out.
Sprint over to Alpha. You guys are way behind. You're slow.
9, 2, 6, by 2, 6, 2, ASAP. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. We're unable to change position in current condition. Out.
What do you mean you're unable to change position in current What? What's your
Bravo,
status?
This is Papa Bear. What's your status? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. We have
Oh,
wounded.
fuck.
Out.
Wounded.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. We are on the move. Reporting 0 deaths.
Oh, fuck. They're tired. I should have let them waste. I should have let them wait when they said they were tired.
Out.
God damn it. I wore them out. What's your status over here, Alpha Platoon? Can
This
you
is
guys
Papa
hang on?
Bear. What's your status? Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. We are exchanging fire. Reporting no KIA. 1 wounded. Our morale is excellent. We're exhausted. Ammo full. Out.
Alpha, this is Papa Bear.
Engage them bad
Engage.
guys.
Over.
I mean, I think they already are, but...
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Moving into position to engage the enemy at 9 or 3, 4, 5, 2, 8, 2, out.
Wait, the enemy's over here? I'm sorry, what? Report contacts.
Alpha,
Where are they?
This is Papa Bear. You see Victor Charlie? Report our contacts. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. We report enemy grunts around 20 or so man at 9 or 2, 6, 5, 2, 6, 2, out.
Okay, so they're here. I'm confused why they were moving into position over here. So where is Alpha?
This
Is
is
Alpha right
Papa
here?
Bear.
This is the thing. It's like, let's chat up all over on the radio because I'm confused, and I think the game's doing its job in that
This
sense.
is Alpha. Reporting position 9
Alright,
or
so
3,
they're like right over
0,
here.
5, 2, 5, 4, out.
So the bad guys are here. Alpha Platoon's here. Where's Bravo? Or can you see the bad guys?
Bravo, this is Papa Bear. You see Victor Charlie? Report our contacts. Over.
Papa Bear, this is
Okay, so you see nothing. Where are you?
out.
Bravo, this is Papa Bear. What's your position? Over.
My soldiers are probably like, shut the fuck up, we're trying to fight.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. Our position is 9, 3, 0. 3, 4, 5, 2, 8, 2, out.
They gotta be close to engaging. Now the good news is if Alpha's right here, they are up on the high ground. They're on this hill. The bad guys are down here. In cover, admittedly, but they're at least below them.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. We're unable to change position in current conditions.
You can't move. Oh wait, did I tell you to order to run? No, I told you normal. Like you literally can't even walk?
Man at 9,
Oh.
6, 5, 2,
All right, so they spotted the bad guys too. So we've got both
Bravo.
platoons over
This is
here.
Papa Bear.
Both are engaging.
Move to 9-2-6 by 2-6-4 over.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. Opening fire, Charlie location at 9, 2.
All right, now I think we just got to sit back and let them do their work. There's nothing. There's no support units or anything I can order them in.
Those Victor Charlie fighters are very determined. We are wasting them in tones, but that's not stopping them. They are hopping over their comrades' bodies.
That's the attitude I can respect.
Okay.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. We're unable to change position in current condition. Out.
Whatever. You can see him and you're engaged. Just fight. Fight and win. Win the battle. Bravo can't move, Project. I've exhausted them. They've already said they can't move out of their current position. Otherwise, I'd be happy to. Maybe I can order Alpha Platoon to do a flanking maneuver.
Alpha.
Let's see if we
This
can
is
get them to
Papa
move down
Bear.
here, and then we'll
Move
use.
to
I don't know if this is like an
9-2
aqueduct or a wall, but we'll
by
try and flank in around
2-5
behind them. We'll see if they can move.
over.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. We're pinned down, unable to change position. Out.
Can I override his decision not to move and just be like, hey, listen, I'm your commanding officer. You're going to move, and I'm going to get you all killed because I'm a butterbar. I know I'm not actually a butterbar. I think I'm a captain, but... He's like every other commander in Vietnam, being unreasonable, commanding from the back seat. You know what? Listen, my boys are in the middle of a firefight, and yours truly is sipping on some coffee, having some cigarettes, and really sweating this out. I mean, I am in the thick of it, guys. Do I get my combat infantryman badge for this engagement here? Because, you know, it's tooth and nail here. My troops aren't going to frag me when I'm on the base, right? Right? I'm not going to throw a frag into my bunker or my barracks. If only I brought a T-64. I don't know how the T-64 would move through this terrain. Let's fast forward here and see what happens.
Bear, this is Alpha. Charlie fragged. Out.
Okay, so it sounds like I killed him. Alpha's no longer under fire. What about Bravo?
Bravo. This is Papa Bear. You see Victor Charlie? Report all contacts. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. We report. No contacts. Out.
Sounded like he was going to say something. We report! No contacts. All right. Well, you guys move back to the LZ now.
Alpha. This is Papa Bear. Move to the LZ. Over.
Needs a virtual mosquitoes. I'm sure the VR version of this game will have mosquitoes that you can swat, right?
Bravo. This is Papa Bear. Move to the LZ. Over.
North, no rest. No rest for the... Oh, God damn it, Bravo.
Change position in current condition. Out.
Fine, whatever. Just rest. How long do you need to rest? You guys are...
This is Bravo. We're at our limit. Out.
I don't know what that means.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. I have to tell you, Captain. If all Charlie are so determined, we have a problem. It looked like they wanted to win a lot more than we did. They were ignoring KIA on their side, only interested in tearing us to pieces. And hatred. Damn. They sure hate us, sir.
Why do they hate us, sir?
I can tell you one thing, white boy. If I were Vietnamese and some assholes from across the seas would invade my country just to sell me some stupid-ass democracy, I would join Viet Cong. That's for sure.
Okay. Is that guy... That character reminds me of Willem Dafoe's character in in Platoon. Let me tell you this, white boy... I mean, obviously Willem Dafoe wasn't...
Cut the crap, Coleman.
Wasn't
Alpha
black,
and
but-
Bravo. Move out to the LZ. Out.
So, what is Bravo's? Ah!
Bravo. This is Papa Bear. What's your position? Over.
I mean, they have been in the field for 6 hours. I think we started around noon Northfield, so they probably deserve a bit of a break.
277 out.
Bravo. This is Papa Bear. What's your status? Over.
I ordered them there.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. We are
They flew into the LZ over here.
reporting 0 deaths, no wounded. Boys' morale high. Boys are exhausted, sir. Ammo full. Out.
Now, we flew Bravo into this LZ. Alpha marched in from the top of the map up here, and Bravo flew into the LZ down here. Move to the damn
This is
LZ.
Papa Bear. Move to the LZ. Over.
Papa Bear, this is Bravo. We're unable to change position in current conditions. Out.
Loudmouth Coleman. You know what? Get your fucking men moving. I don't care. You've got time to rest when you're back.
Closing in on the LZ. No enemy in sight. Over. Sir, if I may, the fight today, it was intense. I've never experienced something like that.
I hear you, Kovacs.
Well done,
You
Kovacs.
boys have done well.
Looks like somebody had his cherry pop today. Congratulations, my boy. From now on, you're a true American killer.
Coleman, why don't you move your damn men?
Oh, shut up, preacher. Be serious. I don't think I should be writing about this in a letter to Luann.
Who the hell's Luann?
Who?
Luann. That's...
Our little bull's white princess. Good advice from old comrade. Let today be our little secret.
RD, we did... Oh, so the battle ended. Alright, so we won. We inflicted 7 enemy KIA, 14 wounded, and we lost 1 wounded. So our 24 men went in, did well. We decided to bring in Bravo Platoon. Alpha and Bravo learned how to coordinate their maneuvers and gain some trust with each other. So I'm guessing there's an element of like cohesion between your units as the campaign moves on. During the debriefing, you mentioned that your suspicion toward the villagers. In the coming weeks, your superiors decided to deport the villagers and burn their homes. Oh my god! Ah! I wonder if the game, like, do these decisions have carryover effects to the next battle? So it sounds like the coordination does. But, like, if I go on sort of a bloodlust and just say, hey, burn all these villages, like, those decisions, I always go one way. Does that influence future battles? It's an intriguing concept, and it sounds like something kind of out of what they're trying to do with Burden of Command as well. Interestingly enough, the PR guy who's in the chat for the stream is also the PR guy for Burden of Command. So a lot of really interesting games that are sort of being developed and are in flight. With that being said, guys, this was taken from a live stream from last night, so it was very much my first impressions, my first look at Radio Commander. I really liked what I've seen so far. I have one more part which looks at the second scenario, which I'll be airing in a day or two. Radio Commander is scheduled to come out in third quarter of 2019. It's being developed by Sirius Sim, and it's going to be published by Game Operators in Playway. It's an interesting looking game. I've really enjoyed my time with it so far. I may make a little bit more of a polished up version of this where I kind of walk through the mechanics and less of a, I'm learning to play and more of a I'm teaching to play, but this game's still a ways away from its final version. This is an alpha version that was provided to me. The game is 9 months at least away from launch, so I would imagine this to evolve a lot over time. With that being said, for the state it's currently in, it's pretty solid and something that I'm really enjoying spending some time in. Let me know your thoughts below. This is a little bit of a longer video, but I wanted to put the whole first mission in there, and we'll show the second mission next time around. Until then, however, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, everybody, and until next time, I'm out.